Welcome to the India FinTech Diaries, the only podcast focused exclusively on the Indian fintech market. I'm Elroy.
And I'm Hemant. In each episode, we dive into the latest trends, ideas, innovations, business models, and personalities that are shaping India's fintech landscape.
We also invite amazing guests who are innovators and industry players that are driving the change that is helping make financial services more modern, innovative, and inclusive in India. Come join us as we explore the changing landscape of fintech in India.
Welcome back to India FinTech Diaries, your one-stop destination for stories from the cutting edge of India's thriving fintech ecosystem. I am Hemant, and today we have an exciting episode lined up as we explore the dynamic world of insurance distribution. With me is my co-host Elroy.
Thanks, Hemant. Insurance is a critical component of financial security, yet many people find it complex and daunting. Today, we have a guest who's been working to simplify the insurance buying process and make it more accessible. Anand Prabhudesai, the co-founder of Turtlemint. Turtlemint has been revolutionizing the insurance industry in India, and we're thrilled to have Anand with us today. Anand, welcome to the show.
Hi, Hemant and Elroy. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. Very happy to be here.
Anand, let's start with your journey. Can you tell us about your early life and education? Which were some of the key experiences that shaped your career?
So, I was born and raised in Goa. This was way
Dream.
back. Yeah, so I get that laugh every time I say Goa. This was Goa back in, in the 80s.
Even better.
So exactly, it was a few years after, maybe a couple of decades after Goa got liberated from the Portuguese rule, and the way of life in Goa at that time was very slow. You know, you used to call it Susegad life.
Yeah.
Shops would close from 1 to 4 p.m. for afternoon siestas. As kids, we could ride on a bicycle to any part of the city of Panjim. Hardly anyone played cricket, but football was big, and I played football too. And Goa was an amazingly peaceful place, you know, lots of diversity, Hindus, Christians, Muslims. We truly celebrated each other's festivals. While Goa has changed a lot in the recent days, become more commercial, you know, that aspect of communal harmony and just living together with each other, I think has largely been retained. And it's something for the rest of the country to learn from. And I'm quite proud that I grew in that kind of a setup in my early years. So I was born to a middle class family. My father was a government servant, mother school teacher, and I had a younger brother. Did my schooling in a convent school called Don Bosco High School in Panjim. Amazing school that focused on all-round development, aside from academics, be it sports and other extracurricular activities. So we used to have a packed calendar growing up. I did well academically throughout my years in school. I was lucky to find out about IIT at that time, being a premier engineering institute. At that time, there was no edtech as such. We used to get, study material to postal means, right? You used to get these study packets. And we pretty much did self-study. It worked for me. And I got into IIT Bombay in the electrical engineering, graduated from there. IIT was a truly transformational experience for me coming from a small town. It was almost like getting out of a well and seeing a big ocean. Lots of career opportunities that I would not even have been aware of. Opportunity to study further in the best institutions in the world, especially the US. And of course, an amazing group of students who were my batchmates at the time. So a lot of stuff to take in for as a young student there, and it really helped me think big. After IIT, I worked in the US for about 7 years. Between two stints, I also did an MBA at the University of Chicago, now called the Booth School of Business. University of Chicago is known for its academic rigor in business. So learned there about asking questions, not taking anything at face value, understanding business deeply. And, post my MBA, I went to the Bay Area, actually became part of the Bay Area ecosystem, worked with a startup there called Elance, which is also started by another IIT Bombay alum. This was a little after the dot com boom, so the environment was very sane and stable there. And I learned a lot about how startups are built. I saw firsthand the excitement of building technology based businesses, the impact one can have. So, really loved that environment over there. And some of the seeds of entrepreneurship, the idea of that got sown at that time in that place. But it didn't happen immediately. In fact, I came back to India after that, worked for a few more years, and about 8 years later, I met my co-founder and started Turtlemint.
Anand, you've had a very impressive professional journey as well with roles at Nokia, Yahoo, Quicker, and then you moved on to start an insurance aggregator. What inspired you to come up with the idea of Turtlemint? Can you share the story behind its inception?
Yeah, in fact, there were a couple of 2, 3 things, and I think they were all linked. It was kind of made to happen in a very serendipitous way, maybe. After I came back to India, there was actually a theft at my father's newly built house while
Okay.
they were away. And luckily, we had it insured, right? Now, when we went for the claim, we realized there were some nuanced clauses there in terms of how the value of goods should be declared, etc., right? And we weren't aware of this when we bought the policy. When we went for the claim, we were kind of surprised that not all of the claim would get paid. The value that we actually got paid was much lesser than what we expected. And this stuff that I'm talking about, right, the was actually in the fine print, literally in a 6 size font. The experience kind of stayed with me for a while. We felt a bit cheated, realized that this is complex, right? Insurance is complex. Now, I'm sure you might have also gone through this experience, or you may know of people who've gone through this experience. When you go buy health insurance, and then you go for a claim, you realize that about 15-20% of that is not going to get paid by the insurer. When you get your car repaired, certain parts may not get paid for the full value. And so this kind of surprise, I realized, existed in for a lot of people when they bought insurance, and it created a negative experience. Now, immediately after this incident of the theft happened at my father's house, I met my co-founder Dhirendra. We were working together in an online classified startup, and Dhirendra came from the insurance industry with a lot of experience in this business, and also for a passion for it. So we hit off over cutting chai, on the streets of Mumbai. We would discuss about starting up, what we could do. We actually discussed several other ideas as well, but we realized that this was something we both had the passion for. We saw an opportunity for technology to make a difference in this category, like you said, in simplifying insurance and taking out some of the complexity. And that's how we decided to get into this and started Turtlemint.
Very interesting journey, Anand. Anand, no hero's journey is complete without some fun challenges, and every startup faces its own share of challenges. So, what were some of the initial challenges Turtlemint faced, and how did you overcome them?
So our going in insight was that insurance is a complex product, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And we wanted to simplify it, make it simple for people to understand. And initially, we thought, okay, we could make it simple by using UI UX, writing better copies, and we did that to a large extent, but we could not go beyond a point. And the reason for that was insurance contracts have a lots of ifs and buts. There are right conditions on claim being paid, what limits they may get paid to, etc., etc. And these things are very difficult for a person to understand. You don't buy insurance every day. It's a very infrequent purchase, so people never really take the time to engage and understand this category, and it's difficult for them to understand. One could ask a separate question, why these complexities exist. They exist even till today. It helps the insurer maybe keep the prices affordable, and also they're trying to protect against fraud. So
yeah,
till
Right.
date, yeah, exactly, some of these complexities haven't gone away. And so that led us to our key insight that advisors are required. You need somebody who you can trust, who's an expert in that field, who can validate your assumptions, who can answer your questions, who can give you the assurance that your claim will get paid. And especially when you look at smaller towns and cities where financial literacy and even English literacy, which is needed today to understand many of these insurance contracts or the language, did not exist. And so we said, advisors, if you're doing something in InsurTech, advisors are going to be an important part of that value creation. And then we felt that physical advisors are going to be much better than telecalling based ones
Right.
because they are in your environment, in your community. They have a better understanding of what your goals are, expectations are. It's hard for a call center executive sitting in Mumbai or Delhi to understand what somebody in Bhubaneswar or Coimbatore may feel, what they're going through. And insurance is kind of an emotional purchase as well. We felt physical advisors are better, so we decided to focus on building a physical network. And what we said is we will create an app for insurance agents to empower them with choice of products, to train them so that they can take this information to their customers through a mix of technology and their own advice, right?
Right.
Smartphones had just arrived on the scene at the time, so we took advantage of that. Most of the agents did not have desktops, they were out on the road a lot. So the smartphone form factor became very powerful in terms of them being able to use this information at the point where they were meeting with their customers. During this time, customers also came on WhatsApp and so on, and they preferred to get the content on WhatsApp rather than go visit a website. And so it all came together from that standpoint. And we then did a lot of other things to further solve some of the problems, like the agents during COVID. The agents were struggling to meet customers, and they typically generated leads when they visited people in their community, or maybe going to the church or weddings and so on. And they were not able to do that. And that's when we enabled for them a social sharing model where we created high quality content that they could share on their WhatsApp and social media channels to build credibility, to generate leads and so on. So that's how we, as we progressed along, we learned more about what the experience was for the agents and the customers, and we kept solving for it throughout the next few years.
Anand, Turtlemint has completed 10 years, which is a very significant milestone. Can you highlight some of the key milestones and growth achievements over the years?
So the agents are a big part of our network. They're actually called point of sale person in
Right.
our business. They are present in more than 18,000 pin codes, so all across the country. We've built this network, like I mentioned earlier, using the power of smartphone technology and data, which is widely available. We were able to reach every part of the country. We have more than 4 lakh agents who've been certified on our platform under the POSP guidelines. We are proud that a lot of these agents have started their careers with us. Nearly 20% are women. A lot of them are under the age of 45 years. So we are creating the new age financial products distributors in the country. We have stories of agents who otherwise would have migrated to the larger cities for employment, but we were able to prevent that because the technology made it available for them to distribute this financial product in their own cities, living there, and earn a good income. So we have people who've bought cars and so on, taking advantage of this opportunity. So we're very proud of that. Aside from the indirect employment, the team, the rec team employed by Turtlemint is over 2,000 people, again spread in more than 70 offices throughout the country. And we brought together the best brains in technology and insurance to solve the problems for the customers. The other milestone we have is the investments. We brought in are over 190 million US dollars. Most of it is FDI. Our technology also today powers insurance distribution at many of the top banks and e-commerce companies in India. This is not as well known, but we've also offered InsurTech to the larger ecosystem. We are exporting this tech to the Middle East as well, where we have some of the prominent banks there as who are using it as well. And most importantly, Elroy, we have close to 1 crore customers spread in all parts of the country. Customers that we've helped with buying the right product, helping them with claims, and taking insurance to the masses.
And those are all significant milestones. Now, for some time, changing gears and moving to the broader Indian insurtech industry, the sector has seen rapid growth with over like 150 insurtechs, and insurtech was considered to be the second line after payments tech and bank tech, right? But it has really seen rapid growth in the last few years, and there are multiple unicorns and unicorns that have come out of the insurtech ecosystem. What are your thoughts on this growth, the drivers of this growth that are driving this particular trend, and why now?
So, if you look at the insurance penetration in India, it's only at about 3.4% of the GDP. So, in most countries, even if you look at the developing ones, it is well above 5%, right? So, we have a lot of upside for growth. The percentage share of GDP, it can be much higher, as well as our GDP is also growing very fast. So, insurance as a sector will grow, and it's a critical product in a person's financial well-being. It protects you against the major setbacks in life that can be destructive to the quality of life. What happens to a family when the breadwinner dies in an untimely way, or the disruption to family finances when a major health setback happens. So every one of us is at risk, and whether we like it or not, such setbacks will happen. And the reality is, people in India are either uninsured, or if they have insurance, they are grossly underinsured. And this is especially true in smaller towns and cities. So the opportunity for insurance, is there. If you look at it in another way, giving people the ability to take business risk, they can do that only if they have a safety net, and that safety net is insurance. And our country cannot grow unless we are able to unleash that entrepreneurial energy. Insurance gives people that ability to take risks, and so it's kind of key. And therefore, the government and the regulators have also recognized this opportunity with the goal of insurance for all 2047. So, the opportunity for insurance growth, the need for it, all of this is there. And therefore, you can see the higher funding, the Sunicons, and all of that happening. And there's lots more to come, if you ask me.
And Anand, you have touched upon the main challenges hindering the growth of insurance penetration across some of the questions. If you could, for our listeners, bring that all together and maybe enumerate what are the top 3 or 4 challenges that are hindering this growth of insurance penetration in India?
The top segment of the country, right, maybe about 200 million people or so, they are able to afford insurance.
Right.
For the really poor, the bottom segment, there are many government schemes like Ayushman Bharat and so on that are providing that safety net. It's really the middle segment, right? The middle India, which is maybe about 700 million odd people or so, who may not have access to insurance. And there are 2 or 3 things that come to mind. First is affordability. The insurance costs are rising. Like if you look at something like health insurance, for example, there's
Okay.
been significant inflation in the healthcare costs, and therefore health insurance costs have risen. People really don't know if they should put their money in insurance or not. It's a tougher choice for people with limited means. Also, the knowledge about insurance is not really available. A lot of insurance in the country has been traditionally sold for investment purposes and not necessarily for risk mitigation, which is the primary goal actually of insurance. So there is need for that. And also, I think cultural reasons. I mean, we've been part of joint families.
Right.
if you've had if you came in had some financial difficulty, you would get help from your extended family. But that is changing now, right? We're having more nuclear families, and
Correct.
honestly, people cannot are not truly even able to help each other when such financial costs arise.
And there's a lot more migration as well.
Yes, there's a lot more migration. So people in cities are living in nuclear families, they are disconnected. So there is that cultural shift that has happened, and people therefore need to have insurance, have their own way of protecting for themselves, and that people need to realize about and adopt to that change.
Anand, as a follow-up question to this, right? What are some of the steps that the regulator has taken to improve and accelerate the growth of insurance penetration in India?
So the regulator has been very progressive, especially in the last couple of years. I talked about the POSP regulation. The
Right.
company, our company really got created out of that regulation. You might have noticed in the recent budget as well, 100% FDI was announced in the insurance sector to attract more foreign players.
Yeah.
Insurance is a capital intensive business, so we need risk capital to be available so that we can underwrite more insurance products. So that was again a great move. There's also the Bima Trinity. There is a special initiative from the regulator, and this focuses on sort of three parts. One is the tech, the product, and then the distribution. The tech part of it is Bima Sugam, which is looking at making insurance available digitally
Okay.
through APIs. It's quite something similar to the UPI and what UPI did for payments. Bima Sugam has the potential to do that for insurance as well. Then there is Bima Vistar, which is it's an all-in-one product. It'll have life, health, and property all built into the same product, so you're covered for the major risks in your life through a single product. Something which is focused at this middle India that I talked about. So that's another initiative, and then there is something called Bima Vahak, which is a women-centric agent force, which will try to drive insurance penetration in the remote parts of the country. So this trinity is also being envisaged and it's being worked upon. The intentions are right; they're in the right place. The execution can be a lot faster, and I think this is where the opportunity also exists for insurtech players to come and help. And the regulator and the larger industry also needs to work and engage with many of the smaller insurtechs that are trying to solve these problems in interesting ways.
Anand, just double clicking on the technology aspects of InsurTech, right? What are some of the key technology trends that are shaping the insurance industry in India?
Yeah, so a couple of things I would like to highlight. There are many things actually going on, but at the larger level, one is the whole digitization effort. So, insurance companies have been using systems in the back end for data entry and so on for a very long time.
Right.
But the data exchange between, say, like an intermediary like Turtlemint or a customer and the insurance company, right? A lot of this stuff used to happen through paper and forms. And like the APIs have been created over the last few years. There's a lot of progress that has happened. We are not there fully yet, but that's one interesting trend that is pushing insurance into the digital age. And like I mentioned about Bima Sugam as well as another initiative that's a push from the regulator to push this digitization. The second big trend is AI. So a lot of back office processing happens in the insurance world, and AI can definitely bring a lot of efficiencies in how some of these things are done. We can reduce costs and pass those cost savings to customers, right, with lower prices for insurance products. And then now recently, Gen AI is also a very, very exciting technology for this sector,
Right.
simply because there is a lot of human to human interaction in insurance. Like I mentioned, it's advisor led product. Most of insurance in India is sold that way, and the Gen AI technologies, because of their ability to understand language and process language and generate language, they can be a huge enabler in these customer interactions. And so that's another area that I feel very excited about and can be a key technology shaping the industry.
For the next couple of questions, Anand, I want to focus on the two core business lines that you mentioned. So let's start with the POSP.
Yeah.
Can you explain what this model is, why this model came into existence, and how it has contributed to your growth? Can you also share, for example, you talked about enabling them with technology. Can you do a double click on that as well, slightly deeper?
So the POSP regulation came around in 2015-16, right around the time we started the company, and it was a forward-looking regulation to drive insurance penetration in the country. USPs, had slightly lower qualification criteria, so it attracted more people to the industry as insurance distributors. Certain products, simple products, were opened up for them. Now that list of products has also grown significantly. And most importantly, what the POSP regulation allowed is intermediaries, which is brokers like Turtlemint, to appoint POSPs. And given the fact that brokers were multi brand,
Hmm.
these POSPs also became multi brand. And so they are able to offer choice to their customers. And this is, how we were able to shape this industry, because once we were able to bring them on the technology platform,
Hmm.
to answer the second part of your question, we enabled them with ability to give comparisons, to give there's a recommendation engine built into our platform. So based on customers' needs, an algorithm automatically provides them the best products from a large number of products, right, that are available in the market, to offer customers something that best meets their needs. And this is something which is very difficult for a human to do, because there is a large number of options that one would look at. Technology makes that easier. What we also, of course, provide them through our technology platform is the ability to digitize the whole journey. So a lot of the paper work that they would collect otherwise has been eliminated. They can simply share a link on WhatsApp to the customer, and the customer can complete the purchase of the product. The policy copy itself is delivered digitally. I talked about the Grow platform, which is a platform that helps agents acquire new customers in a digital manner. So we help to bring them in the digital age, even when it comes to their marketing, especially using social media. And then lastly, I'd like to mention about one more thing, which is very, very important, which is training. New products keep coming into the market, and the USPs have to be well educated in terms of understanding their own understanding of the products and how to present that information to the customer. And so we have an academy platform as well, through which we train these POSPs so that they are able to talk about the latest products and be successful in their jobs.
Two further questions on POSP. Number one is more regulatory. So you said most POSP are multi-branded. So for our listeners, is there a limitation on, for example, how many can single POSP do both life and general? If yes, is there a limitation on how many life and how many general health, general insurance companies they can partner with, or there's no such limitation on a POSP?
Yeah, so the POSP has a certification. There are two separate certifications, one for general and one for life.
Okay.
They need to complete those. There is an exam that's
Hmm.
involved. There's a study material and an exam. So once they complete both of them, they can sell both general and life insurance.
Okay. Okay.
And
And any number, or there's a limitation on number of brands they can partner as well?
no, there is no limitation. So
Okay.
whatever partners we have, and we have tied up with most of the insurance companies in the country, so they are allowed to offer their products.
Got it. And like any role or anywhere where people are involved, there are some supremely high performing or high performers, and then there are middle levels, and then there are lower levels. And everyone wants a piece of the high performing POSP. And considering that this space has at least few players, plus the brand themselves want to get a hold of good POSPs, uh, what are the steps that Turtlemint takes to make a POSP that they have onboarded to stick with them on a longer term basis?
Yeah. So one of the important parts of this is the value proposition that I just described, right? In terms of
Hmm.
Right.
technology enablement, it's not a transactional relationship. It goes beyond that in terms of the investments we are making in their development, both through the marketing platform we offer to them, as well as the academy platform that we offer to them.
Right.
So that's very important. The other aspect is winning their trust, and that trust comes through the service that we offer to them. You can imagine, these POSPs are in really small parts of small and very remote parts of the country, right?
Right.
And they're working with some company which is kind of is very remote for them, and therefore, there have been examples where they've had bad experiences working with certain entities, right? In these models where they've not been paid and so on. So we've really focused on making sure that we have that trusted relationship. So whether making sure every single payout that we make sure it happens on time. We also make sure that the services that we offer to them are of the highest quality, be it things like renewal reminders and even claims, right? So when their customers claim, we are able to provide them the best claims experience. You can imagine, if you're an agent sitting somewhere, let's say in Arunachal or Orissa, trying to work with an insurer, navigate the insurer systems to get a claim paid for the customers is very difficult, right? So what we do is we take over the entire claim experience and deliver the service to the agent and the end customer, right? So these are areas where we make sure we add value. Our proposition to the POSPs is you focus on the business, you focus on the customer, and we'll take care of everything else.
And now, Anand, to focus on the, as you said, the lesser known part of your service line or business line, the SaaS business. Can you describe in more detail what exactly this offering is and the benefits a insurance company gets out of getting access to that technology?
Yeah, so our SaaS business is under the brand of TurtleFin.
Hmm.
We provide insurance technology to some of the other large distributors in the country. So typically banks or some other digital native players also in the e-commerce space. The the challenges for these players have been the same. They want to offer choice to their customers. At the back end, they need to integrate with a lot of insurers. It's complex, and we bring that simplification. We help them with the digitization. We help them with providing better customer experiences for their own customers, be it on net banking portals or digital properties. Aside from that, there's a lot of compliance involved, both from a technology perspective as well as, of course, from a business perspective. And when you digitize your processes, these things become easier with our platform. And also things like embedding insurance in uh, native experiences, right? So you might have seen while you're buying a ticket or a travel ticket, for example, you can add the insurance at a single click. So these are kind of embedded experiences which many of the players in the market are looking to build as an additional source of value for their customers as well as revenues, and that's what we enable as well.
So, if I understand correctly, for a bank, if the bank wants to provide insurance products to their own existing customers, so instead of creating the entire platform and solution themselves, doing the multiple integrations required and the rest of the claims experience management, etc., they partner with you. And what then happens is whatever commission is gained out of the product sale that happens to their customers, then that gets shared in whatever percentage is decided between you and the bank. Is that understanding correct?
No, the our role there is as a technology provider.
Okay, purely as a tech provider. Okay, understood. Got it, got it. And you touched upon Gen AI and AI. So,
Yeah.
can you give examples of how you have got that incorporated at Turtlemint? Some use cases that you think are the most exciting ones at Turtlemint that you have implemented for Gen AI and AI.
Yeah, so we use AI, for example, to process a lot of unstructured content, right? Be it
Okay.
documents or even voice recordings of calls and so on, and try to understand. Of course, document is needed for the processing of the policy as well. It becomes easier for an agent to generate quote or even submit a proposal with that technology. The voice technologies we are using to improve our own processes, so we understand what challenges maybe the customer is facing and how best we can then improve our processes, even training of our frontline staff to handle customers requests in a better way. Several other ways in which we use the technology to say optimize customer experience in recommending products to them, in making it, even in things like fraud prevention. We use AI models to identify cases where there could be a potential for a fraud, and we are able to flag those cases and provide better quality business to our insurance partners. So that's another area of focus. On the Gen AI front, we've already started, automating some of our customer service processes. So, interaction that are happening over chat and email, we have moved some of them into Gen AI driven bots. So the experience A is more consistent because there is a bot doing it. It's also faster because it's available 24/7. And we're looking at a lot of exciting stuff actually that we can do further in terms of this aspect of interactions with humans. Like I mentioned earlier as well, we think it's a huge opportunity in a category like insurance where a lot of interpersonal interactions happen.
Anand, if you look at InsurTech, right, it is actually growing pretty rapidly globally. Where do you see the future of InsurTech heading, especially in Indian context? And are there any trends, innovations other than Gen AI that you're particularly excited about?
Yes, there's a lot of stuff I'm excited about. One is, like one of the dreams I think for me is to see if insurance purchase could be as simple as ordering something from your quick commerce store.
Right.
Clear what you're buying. It's one click. You make the payment and you're done, and you're very, very confident about what you've bought, right? And that experience, I think, could be possible over the next few, maybe over the next few years because of the proliferation of data and APIs. So, like the India stack makes so much verified, authorized information about a person available to underwrite the product. So a lot of this stuff about data collection, where a lot of friction is there today, all of that could go away through these APIs, and also the types of data that is being collected is also much more different and richer. I feel if all these technologies could converge, we could have a simplified experience. The data can be used to also create simpler products, clearer products that customers can buy with a lot of trust. So that, and of course AI, I already talked about. These couple of things are really exciting right now.
Anand, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Your insights into Turtlement's growth, the insurance landscape, and what the future holds for the sector have been incredibly valuable. We're looking forward to see Turtlemint continue to make waves in this space. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Elroy, and thank you, Hemant. It has been a great pleasure speaking with both of you.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of India FinTech Diaries. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on the latest on the Indian fintech landscape. Visit our website indiafintechdiaries.com for show notes and other exclusive content. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.